Hey y'all, my name's Taylor. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. So today's video, I'm going to be answering questions in a part 2 of my Q&A, the 1 year on BookTube celebration video that I did. I separated them into 3 different videos because there were so many questions. So video 1, the first Q&A, was book and BookTube related questions. So I'll link it in the description box in case you haven't seen it. This one is going to be motherhood and life related questions, and the third one I'll do after this one is going to be faith related questions, talking about my salvation story, that type of thing. I am also at the end of this video going to be doing a second giveaway. It's kind of like a bonus belated Christmas present, and I'm sorry it took me so long to do this video, apology. So 2 giveaways. There was one in the first one, and there will be one in this one as well. So stay tuned for that at the end of the video, but let's go ahead and get into the questions that y'all asked. So first section would be the motherhood questions, and so book lover Amanda asked, how are things as a new mom? It goes up and down. Some days will be really good, you know. I feel like I'm on top of it more. There are a lot of days where I feel like things are out of control. I can't keep up with anything. You know, something ends up not being done. Either some chore doesn't get done, or, you know, we've gone through a lot of sickness, so nothing gets done except for taking care of a child, which is important. Don't get me wrong, but, you know, there's just so much to do in so little time, and I'm trying to figure out how to balance everything, and I know that's probably going to be a lifelong struggle. So, really trying to get used to having another person in my life to take care of, and yeah, so it goes up and down. You know, it's all totally worth it, of course. It's just it's not easy, but yeah. So right now, I think I mentioned in my last video, my daughter, she's getting over a sickness that she acquired at daycare. And now my husband has it, so there's been a lot of sickness, but all in all, overall, big picture, it's been great. I wouldn't trade it for the world. I love her to life. Like, she is the best thing to happen, other than my husband, of course, and Jesus too, but yeah. So anyways, number 2, what is your favorite part of being a mom? And this is asked by Katie. Her channel is Paperbacks and Ponytails. And goodness, there's so many things, but if I could narrow it down, watching her grow, like seeing her progress and seeing all the milestones that she's hitting, you know, you get so excited about, you know, every little single thing, however small it may seem. Like, she had good head control, that was exciting. When she rolled over for the first time, when she laughed for the first time, oh my goodness, her laughs, oh, I cannot get enough of them. She's hilarious for an 8-month-old. She makes me laugh pretty much every day. Even when she's sick, she's, you know, of course she can feel miserable, but she's a very happy baby. She's, you know, she can, I don't know, you can just tell she's pretty happy. She'll laugh, she'll, you know, she's curious. And, you know, the idea of helping her through life and teaching her things and giving her opportunities, and you know, eventually, like, leading her in, you know, her spiritual walk, helping her with that. So, you know, I'm excited to do more things with her as she gets older. Right now, we're kind of limited on what she's able to do, of course, but I'm excited to go, like, bring her to the library for, like, story times, and you know, like, yeah, picking out books, which is what I love to do as a child, and taking her to museums, like children's museums and the zoo, and, you know, reading to her, like reading together more. You know, more when she's more interactive, when she's older. So yeah, there's just so many things, but I guess her development, and you can see her little mind thinking through things. But she's just now, in the past week, she started to crawl, although it's not your stereotypical crawl yet. She's working on it. We've had a few face plants. But she's working on it, so that's really cool. So, you know, we'll be getting to walking pretty soon. So, yeah, she's just, I could go on and on about her. But let's see. Uh, Lovely Day with Holly asked me a two-part question. So the first one is, what is the most surprising thing you've experienced in motherhood? And the second part is, what is something about motherhood that has been exactly as you thought it would be? So I think this is kind of a weird answer because it's the same answer for both questions. I knew that motherhood would be very difficult. I knew it would be challenging. I just didn't fully understand or realize the extent of how much mothers sacrifice. I guess it's one of those things where, I mean, there's a lot of things like this where you know something, but you don't fully appreciate or can empathize unless you go through it yourself. Because, I mean, there's just so many things. I could go on and on that I've learned that, you know, things don't go according to my plan a lot of times. So, like with my, starting with my pregnancy, I thought that I would be, you know, this super healthy person and eat all the things that you're supposed to help promote baby's growth optimally, and like, you know, walking around and, you know, getting exercise, and none of that happened. I was basically in survival mode and ate what I could, especially in the first trimester. It was rough. Couldn't eat. Nothing appealed to me. You know, I was basically couch ridden the first trimester. Towards the end of my pregnancy, I had these fainting spells. I didn't fully pass out, but I would have like these spells where it felt like I was going to pass out, so I had to lay down for like an hour and wait for it to pass. And that was, turns out I didn't have enough protein. Never been a big meat eater, so once I started supplementing protein more, that helped a lot. So it kind of calmed down after that. So that was something I wasn't expecting. I thought I was a pretty healthy person, you know, fairly young, like able to handle this is what I thought. And pregnancy was pretty hard for me. Not as hard as some people, but it was still pretty difficult. You know, in preparation for giving birth, I watched a ton of YouTube videos, and I I didn't realize it at the time, but I was trying too hard to control things, and so you know, I was like, I'm gonna have a vaginal birth. I'm gonna have a vaginal birth. That's what I want. I want natural, you know, and I would skip the C-section videos. I was like, that's not going to happen to me. And that's what happened to me. You know, we had an emergency C-section because she was breech. So that whole delivery process and recovery process, again, was not what I was expecting. Wasn't entirely prepared for, just because of my own stubbornness. And then, you know, we keep getting sick. We've been sick a lot. It's ridiculous how many times we've been sick this year. Did not think that that would be a thing. I knew daycares were pretty much, you know, germ factories, but I didn't think that we would be constantly, like, she would get sick, she would get better, she'd give it to me. Like this rotating cycle of one or both of us, or even all three of us getting sick all at one time, or stagnated. You know what I mean. Like dominoes falling. And then my breastfeeding journey did not go as I thought it would go. I thought I would just breastfeed, and it's actually something that doesn't always come naturally or easily, and it turned out to be not to get too into detail, but she was born with low blood sugar, so we had to supplement with formula to start off with, so that kind of put us on a trajectory towards bottles. And you know, I was so focused on trying to get her nutrients versus like trying to get her to latch. So it ended up being more of a stressor for me to try and do both. So I just, she's still breastfed. She doesn't drink formula. She actually doesn't like formula. So she exclusively breast pump, and that's very difficult. But yeah, I also thought that babies would just go to sleep. Nope, that's not the case. You have to calm them and soothe them. Like, I didn't have any interaction with babies before having my own, so I was completely unprepared. Had no idea what to do as far as like taking care of them. And then, you know, I thought that babies would just eat. And as I mentioned, she doesn't like formula, so at one point we had to supplement with formula because she wasn't gaining weight fast enough. She wasn't taking the volume that the doctor said she was supposed to, so we supplemented with formula, and it turns out she does not like formula. We tried different brands, different levels of milk protein content. She started to refuse bottles completely. So once we cut that out, she went back to eating normally. For her, she had reflux for a while. It's just a lot of things that we've had to adjust and take in stride, and you know, try to do the best we can. But she although through all of that, she is still like keeping up with her milestones. She hits pretty much every milestone when she's supposed to, which is awesome. So she's doing good despite all of the challenges. But yeah, all in a nutshell, it's a long answer. Yeah, I've learned to expect the unexpected as a mom. So yeah. Alrighty. So that's all the motherhood questions. We're jumping into life questions now. Favorite dessert or meal? So this is asked by the Writing Songbird. Okay, so favorite dessert, I can answer that pretty quickly. So I love donuts, original glazed. Don't mess with perfection. I just want original glaze, nothing else added to it. It is perfection as it is. And then I guess kind of related to that, I like cinnamon rolls, apple fritters, you know, that kind of doughy, warm, gooey, cinnamony goodness. I'm all for it. I'm also a pretty big fan of chocolate too, but if I had to pick anything any day, I would probably pick like a donut or a cinnamon roll. So favorite meal, that's a little bit trickier because I'm not a big foodie. My favorite meal to cook is breakfast because it's super easy. I don't know. Maybe I'll say my Mima. She would make chicken casserole, squash casserole. She'd make the best green beans ever. So she would make all of that for dinner, and that was the best Southern food. Which is unfortunate because no one will make it like her. So, you know, I've tried a couple of versions. It's just not quite the same, but you know, we'll make do. But yeah, I'll have to say that one. Book lover Amanda asked ultimate vacation spot. Oh goodness. You know, in theory, I could say a lot of places that sound interesting and look beautiful, and I'd love to see them, but I am more of a homebody, so I'm not like super travel inclined. I don't like the journey aspect of it, like the actual traveling part of it. I'm not a big flyer. You know, I'll do it if I have to, but you know, it's not, I don't love it. But maybe, maybe like Europe, like hitting a bunch of places. Is that cheating saying more than one place? But I would love to see like Rome, like all of the architecture, and but then again, it's a big place, and it'll probably stress me out, all the people and all the things in a small radius of space. I know Scotland's would be cool. Scotland would be a good destination, all of the scenery, and I don't know, it's just gorgeous. England would be pretty cool. Like, I know there's parts of England that are really pretty. London, maybe. Yeah, I would like to see the history and like nature-esque parts of things. And there may be some places that I just don't know about that I would be interested in seeing. Anything that's like pretty and interesting and just I'm not too picky, so I'm just gonna say that. Um, oh, Book Lover Amanda also asked what my favorite movies and TV shows are. Well, let me go get some stuff because I forgot to prepare ahead of time. So let me go grab that real quick. All right, I'm back. I had to grab a stack of things to share with you. So we'll start with TV shows. So the OG Pride and Prejudice 1995 Colin Firth version is top tier in my opinion. Yeah, I can quote this verbatim. It's always a good time. And it's pretty much the book in visual format. I just love it. It's my favorite. Can watch it anytime. Christie is also really good. I've read the book, but the series is a little bit different in some parts. And there's also some movies that come after it too. But yeah, it's Christian based on the American classic. So love that one. North and South, the miniseries with Richard Armitage. And there's a really iconic scene of him saying to her, well, she can't hear him, but she's driving away in the carriage and he's like all heartbroken and you know, lonely, and he says, "Look back at me." And like every time I'm like, look back at him. So yeah, please watch this. If you like Pride and Prejudice, you'll probably like this too. Or vice versa. Really, really good. And how can I not say Anne of Green Gables with Megan Follows? Yeah. This is the best version. There's also, this is just the first one. Is this a TV show or is this a movie? I forget. And it feels like a really long movie if it's a TV show. But there's also part 2 and part 3. Those are really good too, but I just own the first one. And then some movies. I'm not a big musical person. Honestly, a lot of them get on my nerves. So the only one basically that I like is Seven Brides for Seven Brothers. It is so funny and like classically, you can tell it's like 1950s made. I forget how exactly old it is. 1954. You can just tell it's made in the 50s, but it's supposed to be set back even further than that. But I think it's cute. And then I haven't watched this in a long time, but this has historically been one of my favorites. Blast from the Past. Also Alicia Silverstone and Brendan Fraser. It is his parents. His dad is like super cautious, I'll say. He creates a fallout shelter. This is like set during the 60s in the beginning, and so he thinks that the Cold War is like actually turning into an actual war, and so there's a plane crash and he thinks that somebody's bombing the US. So he and his wife, who's pregnant with him, go down into the shelter, and it flashes forward to at this time present day, but I think it's like the 90s at this point. But he emerges out of the fallout shelter to seek supplies, and he thinks that, you know, Russia took over, you know, and it's a love story between them two. It's really cute and funny. There is cussing in this, but nothing. Yeah, there's no sex scenes. There's like, you know, innuendo and stuff. Like, it's fairly clean for a movie, but yeah, I haven't seen it in a while, but yeah, that's historically one of my favorites. Let's see. Emperor's New Groove. I love this. Makes me laugh every single time. Hilarious. And last but not least, I'll say The Magic of Ordinary Days. Just ordered it to have in my collection, but it is a historical romance. Marriage of Convenience. I forgot to say, somebody asked about my tropes last video. Marriage of Convenience is one. I forgot to say that one. But yeah, that one's really good too. I also like Star Trek. I am an original series kind of girl. I grew up on it. My family grew up on it, so they kind of watched it while I was growing up. So it's more of a good time. It's not, I don't really take it seriously, you know. It's more like just, I can quote some episodes verbatim. Some episodes you just don't bother with because they're not good. But I know the good ones, and they're very entertaining. And Spock is just, there we go with the mysterious man. He's got some hidden depths, and the poor man, poor Vulcan, he is such an emotional person, but he can't show it because he's a Vulcan. But yeah, he has hidden depths, and he's hilariously funny, and he doesn't mean to be. I also like Star Trek Voyager, and let's see, the next one below that is Next Generation. So, but yeah, those are some of my favorites. Let's move on to the next question. Book lover Amanda also asked about my Christmas traditions. So we don't really have any. My family has always done Christmas gifts, Christmas Eve. Other than that, we don't really have any, and we were sick this year, so I didn't really get to create any, but I did see on Instagram somebody like created like these wooden circle ornaments, like painting their child's favorite book on it per year, and I thought that was really neat. So I don't know if I am capable of painting that, but it would be nice if I could. I'm gonna try and see if I can do that. But I would really love to hear y'all's Christmas traditions, because I would love to adopt some. Yeah, I don't really have any, unfortunately, but hopefully next year will be better, and I'll be more put together and create traditions for my daughter and any other children that come along. So please share. I would love to hear. Tabitha's Books and Faith asks if you could travel anywhere in the U.S., where would you go and why? I would love to, my bucket list would be to visit every state, something cool, or some kind of monument, or some kind of destination per state. But to narrow it down, something about the Grand Canyon calls to me. I think it would be really cool to see that. Continental U.S., that would be my answer. Maybe Hawaii, just because it's so pretty, and I've never seen a beach where you can look down and see your feet, like clear water. I've never been in clear water before at the beach. So maybe Hawaii and or the Grand Canyon. Oh, and like the national parks like Yosemite, that'd be cool too. I don't know. I can't narrow it down to one answer. I don't know. Let's see. Since you live in South Carolina, can you share what it was like growing up there, your school, extracurricular life, etc.? This was asked by Tiff P323. I think it's so interesting that you want to know this. I'm not sure what is unique. Like, some of the stuff is completely normal to me, so I don't know if it's different. But I'll try to answer the best I can. Because y'all know I love South Carolina and I love the South, so I can talk about it. As far as as far as upbringing, in the summer we would catch lightning bugs. We would catch them in little clear containers that have like a little magnifying glass at the top where you can look at them. We let them go when we're gone. We also caught frogs and put them in there. That's I don't know if that's super country or if that's normal for other parts of the U.S. And let's see, we don't really get many snows, so it's like a big deal when it snows here. I think I can count on my hands how many times it's snowed on Christmas. Maybe like 2 or 3 in my lifetime. Like it's rare if we can like have enough snow to like build a snowman, but it does snow here. Let's see what else. We live where I physically am in the upstate. We're kind of in between the ocean, so my family goes to the beach in the summer, and then we used to, growing up, we would go to the mountains, like in Tennessee, Pigeon Forge, in the fall, winter. Also been to Biltmore several times growing up. I love that. Highly recommend if you haven't gone. And then what else? School. I went to a very small school, 700 kids total. So my graduating class was, I think, less than 100. I can't remember exactly, but I didn't really do any extracurricular activities, except for I was in JROTC. I worked my way up through the ranks, and I was battalion commander at the end. Yeah, I'm trying to think what else. I don't know. If you can think of anything specific you want to know, I'd be happy to share. But I mean, I grew up on like sweet tea and you know, cobblers in the summer. Yeah, I'm blanking on what else I could say. Yeah, if you think of anything specific, I'd be happy to answer. That's it. My Southern childhood in a nutshell, I guess. Let's see. All right. How did you meet your hubby, and when did you marry? And this was also by Tiff P323. So, yes. My husband and I, we went to different high schools. We've known each other a long time. Since I think we met in 2010. So one of my friends at the time, she, as I mentioned, I was in JROTC, and it was our military ball, and one of my friends, she brought her cousin, which turned out to be my husband. And this friend, she's very country, like she's kind of like a cowgirl type country. She always wore cowgirl boots. She, wore flannels and jeans all the time. She had a horse that she would race, and she went to rodeos, that type of thing. So I was kind of expecting that from her cousin. I was expecting this hick guy to show up with like in cowboy boots or whatever. That was just my vision of him. So I was totally prepared to meet some really country guy. And so I unofficially call it my real life Cinderella love story. That's what I call it, but I think my husband would probably make fun of me if I told him that's what I call it. But the reason why I say that is that I was late to the ball, and I was wearing a blue dress, and that's probably about the extent of the Cinderella-ness part of it. But I was actually late. I was the last person there. And my friend and another friend, they had their backs to me, and they wore the exact same dress by accident, exact color, the same dress. So they had their backs to me, and I said their names, and they turned, and he was in the middle of both of them. I don't know what I'm doing with my hands. But he was in the middle, so it was like a curtain being drawn, and there's my husband. So at this point, I'm in 10th grade, and I had never dated anybody was completely innocent in knowing anything about dating, or how to react or act around a guy. So I had no idea that he was showing signs that he liked me. Had no idea. I was completely oblivious. I was just being nice to my cousin's, or my friend's cousin. So he apparently took a shine to me. And so, they have those couples dances. And I obviously didn't have anybody, so I was just sitting on the sidelines watching. And he was dancing with his cousin. And I heard this from her later. She was like, he said, "Oh, there's Taylor on the sidelines. Like, she shouldn't be alone, it's something like that." And she's like, "Well, why don't you go ask her to dance?" And he's like, "Okay, I will, if you're okay with it." And she's like, "Yeah, go ahead." So he comes up to me and like cuts like all the way across the room. I saw him coming and I was like, "What is happening? He's coming towards me. What's happening?" And like he did like this flourish and like held out his hand and bowed at the same time, and I was like, "Are you serious?" Because boys are mean, I didn't know if he was pulling my leg, like I didn't know if he was serious, and he's like, "Yeah." And so I took his hand and we did a slow dance, and granted, you could have fit like 3 people in between us. We were so far apart, but this is baby steps, y'all. Like, I was a baby, and so was he. Like, I was his first real girlfriend. But so that actually was caught on camera because my first sergeant and major like to film the event and like show it in case you didn't see some things. I guess they there's like a ceremony at the front part, and so they filmed that, and then they filmed bits of the party, and that happened to be caught on camera. And so when I went to school on Monday, some people were like, "Oh, who is that guy? He's so cute. Are you dating?" And so it spread through the whole battalion, and even my major and first sergeant were like, "Who's that guy?" And I was so embarrassed because I was super shy and kept to myself, and I didn't date, so this was all new to me. So we kind of stopped talking for a year because we didn't drive. We went to different schools, so I didn't have a phone, but he did. I had Facebook, but he didn't, or something along that lines. So I call it the blackout period, where we didn't talk for a year. So flash forward to military ball the next year, and I hadn't talked to my would-be husband that whole time, basically. And maybe like a little bit after the first meeting, but kind of petered out. And so his cousin asked if I would bring him to military ball this year, and I was like, "Sure, I don't have anybody else to ask. I'll ask if he wants to come. If he doesn't, that's fine." So I asked him, and he said yes. And by this point, I had a phone, so I was able to text him and ask him. We got his number from his cousin. And so we hadn't physically seen each other in a year. And I was so nervous because I liked him. He was cute. And so I remember I was the battalion adjutant, which is basically like a secretary. And so my job at this function was to, there's like a receiving line where everybody has to go through to get to the ballroom. So in the lobby, everybody has to go through and shake everybody's hand, like go down the line of like the major, the first sergeant, their wives, anybody important, the guest speaker, all the staff of the JRTC command staff. So I was on that staff, and my job was to introduce everybody. So I had to be like, "This is so and so, battalion commander," shake their hand, so I was the first person in line. So we weren't sure what to do because, it's supposed to be me standing there. And so we asked Major, where is he supposed to stand with me? Like, is he allowed to? And he's like, "No, that's not protocol. Like, you have to be just you." And so he's like, Major said, so you get to sit and watch everybody. You get to see all the pretty ladies and see what they're, see what they're wearing and scope them out or something. I forget how he put it, but and so the hubs said, well, I already am with the prettiest girl here. And I was, oh my goodness, my cheeks were on fire. I was like, oh my goodness, I cannot believe he said that to my major. I'm so embarrassed. Like, it's nothing to be embarrassed about, but I was like, oh. And so I was I scurried away. I was like, we're going in another room. I don't want to. My major was basically like a dad figure, so I was really embarrassed. And that night, we were saying goodbye. Like, my mom pulled up, and again, I didn't drive at this point. And she picked me up, and she wanted to meet him, and I was like, this is, my husband, or his name. And we drive away, and she's like, he's cute. And I was like, Mother. Yeah, he is. Like, oh my goodness, my mom. So then we started talking and dating, and here we are. We got married in 2016. In June. It was an outdoor wedding, and it was very, very hot. Thankfully, nobody passed out. But I still, to this day, people, whenever I bring up my wedding, or they bring up my wedding, I remember that. It was so hot, and I was like, but you still remember it. It was one to remember. So, yeah. Anyways, our love story is my favorite. We were super cute. We were each other's first everything. We obviously stayed together. We've known each other since 2010. Started dating, and yeah, we've been together quite a bit. And yeah, that's the story. Let's see if there's anything else about him. I don't think so. Oh, I did miss the question that Anne Riddle asked me. Sorry, Anne, I forgot. I put it in the wrong section. I didn't realize it until now. She had asked me what my favorite book, my fiction book is, which I said When the Day Comes in the last video. Fiction book series, timeless series. But she also asked my favorite nonfiction book. Unfortunately, I have only read one Christian fiction, nonfiction book in like 2 years. I love the idea of nonfiction. I want to learn from them, but I just don't gravitate toward it. It just takes more brain power right now because I really want to engage with material, like take notes in the margins, highlight, really soak in what that person has to share. And I just haven't had time. I don't want to just do an audiobook because I feel like I don't really absorb some of that information. So I haven't had a chance to. I have a good collection, but I haven't read any yet. So I can't answer that question. I do recommend the book that I did read. It is, I mentioned it several times. Laugh Your Way to a Better Marriage is the one I'm talking about. It's the only one I've read. So I wouldn't say it would be a favorite, but it's really good. And then the last question is a bit of a difficult question. So what it is, it's by the Writing Songbird, and she asks, what advice would you give a girl eager for a relationship? And I don't know if I'm the right person to ask because it's been a long time since I've dated, and obviously things have changed since the mid-2000s. So I can't speak for personal experience. I'm sure everybody who watches this knows that you can always go to the Lord in prayer for anything. And this is definitely one of those things that I would pray about or ask others to pray for you. Always have a good prayer group. Even if you don't want to say exactly what it is, you can always say an unspoken prayer request. I will share a story I've learned from a mutual friend. So my husband's best friend. They're basically like brothers. Like they're really super close. If anything ever happened to me and my husband, he's gonna get our daughter. He's that much of importance to us. He is the same age as my husband, and so he has been, I think, trying to find someone for several years. He hasn't dated anybody since high school. And so he was getting really discouraged, like, I can't find anybody, you know, I want to find somebody, I want to be with somebody, and we were like, keep trying, you know, like, don't give up, somebody is out there for you. He had such a hard time, the poor guy, like, he tried dating, online dating, and this is how he ended up finding somebody, but he had some experiences. There was one person that he went out on a date with, and she brought him a package of inappropriate things, shall we say. So obviously he didn't continue with that one, but he said it was a very awkward date. Like, he went through with it, but at the end she gave him the package and he's like, no. He had a few people like talk to him and then ghost him, like completely disappear. Somebody told him that she found somebody better than him. So yeah, he had a rough time. So this is years of him trying, and he finally had a hit. I don't know what in the world you call it now, but I think he used the Hinge app for this. He tried several different ones. He had all of them going at the same time, but this girl contacted him or matched or whatever through Hinge, and she's a Christian too. They're both Christians, so that was really important to him. And they've been dating for 6 months now, and I can foresee them getting married. Like, I can't imagine them apart anymore. It's really interesting to see how she's already changed him for the better too. Like, you can see their impact on each other, which is really cute. He's more social now, which is really strange. But I would say, saying all that, you know, the Lord has his plans for you. We just don't know what they are. But you can always ask him for anything. Prayer has power to it. You know, yeah, I know it's hard, and like I said, I feel like I can't say anything since I didn't have this experience, but you know, I know waiting can be difficult. I've had other experiences of wanting something and not getting it in my timeline, but try online dating maybe, or getting out there and going to church events. Like, you can't meet somebody unless you put yourself out there in some shape or form. I know that's really probably not the best advice. It's kind of vague, but yeah, I would say keep trying. Don't give up. You know, try not to focus on it too much and let it get you down, type of thing. But, you know, yeah, I don't know if that's helpful or not. But that's what I've got. Yeah, so, oh yeah, we gotta do the giveaway. I almost forgot. I thought to sign off and forgot to do the giveaway. So let's do that. Let me get set up and then I'll be right back. All right, I've got it pulled up now, and let's see. Let's spin the wheel to see who's gonna win the second giveaway. Who are we gonna get? The book addict 1244. Yay, congratulations. So let me know, well, send me a message with your Amazon book wish list to my Instagram or to my email, which I'll have in the description box. So send that to me. And thank y'all so much for commenting and supporting my channel. I wouldn't be here without y'all. So thank you, and thank you, the Book Addict 1244, for entering, and I hope you enjoy whatever I send you, and I'll see you in the next video talking about my my salvation story and the other faith questions y'all asked. So see you in the next one. Bye.